Trump and Zelenskyy confer at Mar-a-Lago on Ukraine security and peace plan. In a high-profile encounter at Mar-a-Lago, President Donald Trump sat down with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy to hammer out security guarantees for Kyiv and to assess a joint 20-point peace proposal. The discussion came just after Zelenskyy reported a constructive dialogue with U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and former White House advisor Jared Kushner. Trump highlighted a good and very productive phone call he had earlier that day with Russian President Vladimir Putin, stressing that both leaders must reach a deal to stop the bloodshed. He told reporters his message to Putin was clear: "We've got to make a deal," adding that the two sides were making the makings of a deal that could benefit Ukraine and the broader international community. The draft plan crafted by American and Ukrainian negotiators is now being examined by Moscow, although the Kremlin has yet to budge on its territorial demands. Zelenskyy asserted that both presidents are roughly 90% aligned on the framework, while acknowledging that the Donbas question remains a very tough issue for both sides. The president also announced plans to host Zelenskyy and several European leaders in Washington this January, signaling a continued push for a multilateral resolution. Trump emphasized that Europe will shoulder a larger share of Ukraine's security, describing a future where European allies take on a big part of the defense effort. He suggested that if negotiations proceed smoothly, a peace settlement could be reached within weeks, but warned that a negative outcome remains possible. The meeting, which lasted about 2.5 hours, featured a roster of senior officials including Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, White House Chief of Staff Susie Wiles, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. Following the talks, Zelenskyy appealed to Ukraine's international partners to sustain aid after a recent wave of Russian drones, missiles, and guided bombs struck Kyiv, causing extensive damage and civilian casualties. He called for continued sanctions, political pressure on Moscow, and the delivery of additional air defense systems. The encounter marked the first face-to-face meeting between Trump and Zelenskyy since their contentious February sit-down during Trump's first term, a session that had been marred by political tension. Trump admitted that ending the war has proven more complex than he anticipated, despite earlier campaign promises of a swift resolution. Both leaders expressed optimism that a comprehensive peace agreement could be finalized before the new year, though significant hurdles, particularly concerning the status of the Donbas region and potential demilitarized zones, remain unresolved.